Garrison, what episode of Just Ranchin' is this?
Well, we're going to work on today. This horse has been in the round pen for a while, doing really good. I'm going to show you some of the things I look for in this horse to prepare him to go out of the round pen to, say, the big pasture, or to maybe take him to do something for the first time. So I'm going to get on him, ride him around a little bit, and talk about some of the things I'm looking for and some of the feel and the response. And that's going to tell me if this horse is prepared enough to move outside, or we need to stay in a round pen a little more. I always like to have their head pulled around. Want them to stand there patient until I'm ready. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm not going to put a lot of pressure on this colt at first. He's wanting to do good. I'm going to let him move around, relax, kind of loosen up. Me and him both. Like I said, when he feels good, like, I don't ever want a horse to tell me when he's going to trot off, you know. You'll see how that can be a problem when you go outside in the pasture. You get out of this round pen and get in the big pasture, and he tells you when to trot. We can all see where that can be a problem. So when he's listening to me, I'm just go ahead and kick him up, just get a little energy going. Again, I'm just looking for this horse to be paying attention to me, watching for his ears. You know, he's moving around pretty relaxed, pretty quiet. You know, I want everything to be when I say. I want him waiting on me for the next step. You know, we're moving around pretty good. We're probably kicking into a lope here in a second. Make sure we pick up our leads. Again, I want this speed comes when I ask, not when he wants to. You know, everything's going pretty good. This colt's been pretty good. He hadn't given me a whole lot of trouble. So that's why I'm thinking, right there. Thinking this horse I may take out of the round pen quicker than I may some others. You know, and no horse is the same. They'll tell you when they're ready. You get in a lot of trouble going on your time. Horse has no clock. Like I said, he's doing pretty good. He's moving around the way I want. And like I say again, I transitioned up slow. So now I want to transition down slow. I'm just going to quit riding, take a little energy out of my feet. Let this horse kind of come to a walk on his own. You know, that's all good. Pull his head around, let him stand here for a second. Like right there, one of the main things I'm looking for when I'm going to go outside the round pen is, do things happen on my time? Does this horse walk till I say trot? Does he trot till I say lope? So on and so forth. Because in here, it's controlled. But if we go on the drive or whatever, and my horse starts to trot before I want to, I'm either going to have to be pulling around on my horse a lot, or he's just going to maybe get spooked, clamp his tail, then he's going to lope. And he may lope on it faster than I want to lope. Next thing you know, we can be running off. You know, so it's real important for me. The biggest thing I look for is, do they transition on me? I do not want to get on a horse and he just start taking off trot. In here, it ain't good, but out there, it's bad, you know. So same thing, we'll do the same thing both ways. Like I said, this colt's doing pretty good, so I feel pretty confident that he's ready for the next step, but still, it's better to be prepared and make sure you're prepared, as opposed to get out there at daylight expecting to do something and then be in a jam, you know. So again, everything he's doing is on me. Slack in the reins, he's listening to my body, my energy. Again, we're doing good. We'll keep him up until low. Let him travel around, relax. He's not trying to gain speed on his own. You know, he's listening, waiting. Again, I won't bore you with doing a bunch of circles. Again, I'm just going to take some energy out of my body, sit down. And then whenever it happens, there it goes. Bring the energy down. Same thing. Gonna just let him come back to me, to a walk. Good, let him be relaxed. Pull his head around, let him stand here. Okay, so first thing I'm looking for is that. He's listening to me, transitioning up and down. Now the next thing I'm gonna do, in here, I have these posts as my fence, right? Well, when I go outside and start trying to lope this colt in some circles without these posts, they can rely on this rail a little bit. So next thing I'm really gonna focus on here is, now that we've established he will listen to me, I'm gonna start building this fence with my hands and my legs and my feet, okay? I'm gonna teach this horse that this is a wall with my right leg and my right hand in this right rein, and same thing on this side. I start, again, this is the way I do it. I'm not saying it's the way, it's a way. The first thing I'm gonna do is always make sure I have control of this horse's hind end. I got his head and his butt, see that? Very soft, he's responsive. I have control, so I'm establishing that this rein means to go this way, okay? Now, some colts, you're gonna run into a problem when you do this. They're gonna try to hollow out and drift, so I don't have a fence over here, right? If that happens, if I do this, I want this horse to follow his nose in a circle, okay? If this horse does drift off, I'm gonna pull him back into this circle and control this hind end. And at the same time, I'm gonna start putting some right leg and right rein on him. You see how he's kind of moving off of that now too? So this is just that. Now I'm gonna start building this fence too, okay? And then, see, we're trotting. So we're building a fence right here with our hands, both ways. You know, again, I'm gonna start doing to the right. I'm gonna make sure I got control of his face and his butt, okay? Then I'm gonna start using this hand. See, right here is just one hand. Now I'm gonna start making, and y'all see the difference in how this horse rides. Okay, one hand, which is good. You have to have that first, but then the next step is to start building this outside fence. And then this colt's doing really good. He's not trying to hollow out. That's what I'm saying. I feel pretty confident that he's gonna do well. He's prepared. But those are the first two things that to me are the most important. You know, because you get outside, you don't have this to rely on, so they have to trust your hands and your feet. So I'm trying to just build, I imagine that I'm building a fence. Now you just point your hands like this, so to speak, and just see how my horse is following inside this track. Okay, I can move him over on that track. I can bring him in on a smaller track, but everything, see how he is between my hands. That is important when you go outside. And the next thing, and probably the final thing I want to talk about, is a colt. Something is going to happen outside. Who knows what? A rabbit's going to jump up. Something is going to happen. You know, he's a 2-year-old. There's stuff he hadn't seen. The reason I spend so much time having control of this, that say my horse does spook, and a 2-year-old, I don't like to just have to pull back on him if things aren't going good. I don't want to pull on this horse a lot. So say something happens and my horse spooks out there for the first time. I want to just patiently, without panicking, easier said than done sometimes, but the reason I spend so much time getting them soft and disengaging right there, because if things go bad, my emergency brake is that. Now it may take a while, but if my horse gets spooked, and instead of me just pulling and panicking, I pull his head around, he knows that is a spot for my feet to quit moving. And that way, if you do get into a spot where you're in your horse is gotten scared and not trusting you, that's a good I call it an emergency brake. That it may take a minute, but eventually my horse knows that this is a place for my feet to quit moving. And once things quit moving, start over, try again.
So just real quick, just out of curiosity, like, give me some different timelines of horses that, like, the quickest you've gotten a horse out of the round pen as opposed to the longest.
Yeah. Like I said, everyone is individual. There's no one way all the time. If I've got a colt that wants to be real sticky-footed, meaning I'm having a hard time getting him to travel in here. I will probably go out maybe a little sooner, just because the last thing I want to do if this colt's wanting to be sticky is have to kick on him or spank him with my reins, you know, a lot. I don't want him to hate this, you know. And if I'm over in here and that colt's not wanting to travel out the way I want, I mean, I'm gonna try to get it going in here the way I want. But instead of getting into a fight with them, I'm gonna kind of back away and we're just gonna try another approach. I may go into like your arena, you know, something confined but just bigger. And I'm gonna let him travel. I don't care if I want to go that way and he goes this way, and that colt's really wanting to be sticky, but he's traveling out. I'm not gonna pull on him. I'm just gonna let him travel. And then once his feet get moving, then I may start directing him a little better. But and that goes even back to, you know, the first ride in the round pen. I don't care how they do it, just travel. You know, just travel, relax, best we can. And so there's that scenario. A horse that's really, really grabby, you know, clampy, you know, sees a lot of shadows and things, but really moves his feet good. I'll stay in here a long time, you know. As a rule, I stay in the round pen or in a confined. I mean, at my house I have a small round pen and then something about the size of like the bucking pen over here, and I stay in there for a long time because I want to win every day. You know, I don't want to get in a battle and lose. You know, so that's real important. But a horse that's wanting to move his feet correctly and do everything I'm asking, but is a little flighty, I'm gonna stay in the round pen longer. You know, if everything goes exactly like I planned, I usually try to at least put a few rides on them after, you know, 45 days or so outside. And I mean, we may just, like in my house, I have just a long straight area. I mean, we may just long trot a mile down there and turn around and come back, you know, but just travel, you know. I don't want to show them the outside and try to train them out there all in the same day, you know. So you kind of acclimate them, you know, just make sure they're traveling relaxed. Same thing like going back to in here. I want to walk, trot, lope at my speed. And then so I want to do the same thing out there, you know. So the first day I'm not going to go out there, walk, trot, lope, and try to get him to spin around and do this and do that. You know, it's just a horse is brick by brick, you know, little by little. You know, we talked about it last night, like, you can't make them in a day, but you can ruin them in a day. So that's real something to be to always kind of, I have to make myself remember that, is I can't make them in a day, but I can mess them up in a day if I'm not careful. So those are, to me, those are the principles. If you have those basic foundations, you're ready to go ahead and move on to the next step.